What do you do when the job that you depended on for so long suddenly disappears? Well, today's guest, Kristina, found herself in that exact position. And instead of starting over somewhere else, she decided to build something that was her own. In this episode, we're going to talk about how being laid off pushed her to grow her own blog, strengthen her photography, build confidence, and ultimately led her to landing her dream client inside of the Buyers Club. And now she is adding on video and is dreaming about what her future is going to look like. Today's episode isn't just about photography, it's about growth, it's about rejecting good for great and building something that is truly your own. Welcome to the Pretty Focus Podcast. Hey, Kristina, welcome to the podcast. We're so glad that you are joining us today. Why don't you tell our viewers where you're watching, or you're not watching, you're participating. Where are you from?
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I am in Seattle, Washington. So I'm just a few miles south of SeaTac Airport.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you been up there?
I grew up in Seattle, actually.
So
But I've been
your
in
whole life.
this neighborhood like 2011. But yeah, I grew up
Okay.
in Seattle.
Okay. Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. I love that. Well, I'm really excited to dive into your story today. Like I said, I was kind of poring over all the notes before we started, and I'm just so excited to unpack your story and learn more about you. That's why I love these grad interviews, because I just get to know and get to talk to all of our grads. And I wish that we all lived in the same area,
Yeah.
because I would just want to be together, I think, with you guys all the time, or like, let's go shopping, or let's go coffee, or let's go get macarons, or I just think it would be so fun to get together on a regular basis. But
Yeah.
I want to start with 2023.
Mhm.
And you shared with me in your notes that you were laid off
Mhm.
from your job. And what was going through your mind at that time?
Oh, so it was part relief, but also part scared.
Yeah.
My daughter was getting ready to go away to college that summer. So I was laid off in August. So we were like a week out from her leaving. And so when I got laid off, I was like, well, I guess I can really enjoy my time off because she went to Hawaii for 1 year for college.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and so I was like, I can really enjoy my time in Hawaii and I can get back and relax. But then I'm like, oh no, like I what am I gonna do? Because I was a medical coder. Um, and medical coding pays pretty decent, you know.
Yeah.
And my husband was a business owner at the time, and so I was the steady income earner, and then he contributed like when he could, right?
Right.
And so I was scared, and having your child enter college, and then you have that expense coming, and then the
Oh,
layoff
yeah.
is kind of like the layoff is there. Um, but I was also working on my blog. So I started my blog at the end of 2021, and in 2022, I started being more serious about it, like learning about what the blog actually needs to get seen on Google and stuff like that.
Mhm. Okay.
And so I was working with blog coaches during that time.
Okay.
And I asked my blog coach team, I'm like, hey, I just got laid off. You know, I know I've talked about being a food photographer. Um, but do you think that's realistic for me? Like, like what should I do? What would you do if you're me? And the one blog coach was like, your photography is great, Kristina. But if you want to work for food bloggers, I think Pretty Focused is the way to go.
Oh,
And I
wow.
pretty focused, like I
Yeah.
had
You're like,
heard
"What?"
about, and I believe I was following a couple of other students at the time. Like we're still following each other. So
Okay.
I was familiar with what Pretty Focused was, but
Okay.
I didn't know what made it different, right?
Sure.
Um, and she was like, when you work for food bloggers, you want to brighten things up. You're going to want to learn process shots. You're going to want to learn just the more, like go take a look, like go check it out.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and she took Pretty Focused just for herself, like just for her own blog, I believe. So she's
Okay.
never done, I don't think she may have worked for like one blogger in the beginning, but
Okay.
it was pretty much for herself. And
Yeah.
when so I talked to my husband about that. I was like, hey, it was suggested by my blog group about this Pretty Focused program. And, like, what do you think about that? Because, once I finish, that really opens up the gate and I can like work on my blog and, it's a whole thing, right? And
Right.
he was like, why don't you go for it? And I was
Love
like,
that.
really? Okay. Um, the exciting part was that he paid for it. So that was really a relief because again, I was just laid off. We just went to Hawaii and I'm like,
Right.
how do I
Right.
come up with funds for this dream, right?
Right.
Um, and he's like, hey, I will pay for it. Go do it. Okay.
Wow.
And so I signed up. Um, and I've taken a couple of other food photography courses, and I think the difference, well, the big difference is like those are food photography courses. Like, here's your camera. You're going to learn about your camera. You're going to learn about how to get the pretty angles of the food.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in Pretty Focused, it's like, no, 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 no. Look at this. You're going to want to show this angle, that angle. You're going to want to like what is it? Get the focus right. Oh my god, my focal point is so off. My
Oh yeah.
focal point was like
Yeah. I mean,
terrible.
I love that you just shared the difference because, people will ask me like, "Well, I just had somebody email me like, this sounds like brand photography." And I'm like, no, not really. Like, no, not really at all. It's for
Yeah.
recipes. It's so different than, like you said, even just general food photography.
Yeah. I think the tutorial food photography, I mean it's not hard by any means, but it does take a minute to get it right, to master it.
Mhm.
And I never would have learned that if I wouldn't have taken Pretty Focused.
Wow.
So here I would have been taking awful focal point shots or whatever and being like, hey, look at my work. Come, I want to work for you. Whoa.
Oh my
So
gosh. Wow.
that right there was like how detailed you guys are, like with the feedback and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we need that feedback, right? Like, how else do you grow? Because anyone can look at your picture and be like, oh, yeah, that's a great picture.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I know there's other photography groups out there, and I know, and our students are in them too, right? And so it's fine. You're not just like limited to being inside of Pretty Focus, right? But it is interesting when I see like screenshots or whatever feedback from those other groups, and you know, a student who's like going for food blog photography will post in there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, it looks fine," and it's like, no, you have no context whatsoever as to what this client needs. You're just coming in, you're like not asking questions. You don't know, like I said, you don't know context. You don't know the final result. It's not fine, right? It's not fine.
Yeah.
So I love that. Yeah. It is very specific feedback.
And, I mentioned the focal point thing. Another thing that really I had my aha moment with Pretty Focused is when you guys describe the triangle in
Oh,
composition.
yeah.
It was like, why did they make it look so simple when I've been mind boggled by that for the last couple of years. Like, how do I get the triangle? How do I master that? Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think with composition, I appreciate wonderful composition. For me, as just a photographer, and when I'm trying to learn, I'm like, you'll be like, they'll put it up on the screen and like, do you see? Do you see the C or do you see the triangle? You're like, yes, but how did you get there?
yeah,
I understand and I can see that flow. How did you get there though? And so I like went back to my second grade teaching like roots, right? It's like, let's build it one thing at a time. So I love that you were able to be like, I get it now. Like
yeah,
this is how you build it. And it starts with that simple triangle, but then that's where you can add on and you can add your movement and you can add in different little things here and there, but that's like kind of your core and where you can start. So that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I love that. So when you had started your blog and then you got laid off and then you just jumped. I mean, you jumped right into things. You were working for bloggers beforehand, right? Before you joined Pretty Focused?
No, I joined Pretty Focused, um, like August, September of 2023. And
Okay.
then I started working for bloggers in January 2024. So I
Okay.
hadn't finished Pretty Focused yet.
Okay. But you're just like working. I mean, you were already connected with bloggers. You were already working and probably connecting in other groups. Maybe is that kind of where you connected with them?
Yes, I was in a mastermind,
Okay.
a blogging mastermind, and then also one of my first clients, I had pitched them.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. Are
oh,
you still working with them?
not that first one.
Okay. Okay. It took you about a year and a half to fully graduate from the course from whenever you joined. A
Yeah.
lot of times we say around, 6 months, 12 months. Do you think that timeline is realistic, to do it in 6 months? And why did it take you a year and a half?
So the reason why it took me longer was that the first client that I had, um, they they were a group of people who bought blogs.
Okay.
And so they had about 3 or 4 blogs that they're doing content for. And I was shooting a lot for them. Like, I don't know, 10 recipes a week. I mean, they really were
That's a
pumping
lot.
out the work. Yeah, they were really pumping out the content. And unfortunately, though, they're really underpaying me. And
Okay.
I'm assuming that they were probably underpaying whoever else that they had working for them because they
Mm,
had like several photographers working for them. Um, however, like,
fascinating. Okay.
yeah, yeah. However, that gave me a lot of experience behind the camera
Sure.
because I mean, each of the blogs had different styles. So one wanted white marble, one wanted light gray, one wanted a darker color. So it really gave me exposure to doing all these different styles,
Mhm.
and nailing the focal point, like just nailing workflow, um, getting the recipes in at the beginning of the week and being able to have a system down for that and getting the groceries ordered or whatever. Um, so I just kind of stuck it out with them for about 8 months. And I think it was 8 months
Wow.
too long, honestly. But
8 months at 10
yeah.
recipes? Oh, boy.
And I was also doing my blog mastermind, right? So I was busy trying to grow my blog, um, as well.
Yeah.
And like between that, I was like, well, when do I have time to do this pretty focused? Like I need to do the pretty focus practice sessions and
Mhm.
everything. So I moved really slow getting the practice sessions done. And then by the time I got into the portfolio, I was like, okay, now I'm in the portfolio, so now I need to bump things up. But then I started having, other clients, right? So I had other clients. Um, I think of spring 2024. So I did have more client work that I was working on and
Yeah.
stuff. So I
No, that
think that,
makes sense. That would slow me down too.
yeah,
I mean, because that's where your money is coming from there. You know what I mean? And so
yeah.
that's completely understandable, right? I love that. Well, so that was in 2024, you're working with clients. And when did you end up graduating then?
October is either September or October 2025.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What type of shift did you see in your work from like the beginning to like the end? I know you talked about like focal point. You talked about triangle. Like, did you see growth as you were going through and working for clients um, in your work during that time?
Yes. Very much so. When I first look at my pictures, like my first client work from 2024, I'm like, okay, these weren't bad, but I could have upped the styling. I could have done this differently. I would have put that
Yeah.
there. I would have, and I really pick it apart. Um, definitely the style or like how I position everything in the composition has totally changed.
Okay.
Um, I mean, I think I'm doing more close-up shots now. And I think because I have a lot of clients who like that more closer look. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah,
We're food focused, right?
yeah,
We want to see what that recipe is supposed to look like. Yep. Makes sense.
yeah. And I mean, just better composition all the way around. I mean, it's like day and night, kind of like, ooh, that's what my picture used to look like.
I
But,
love that. Yeah.
you know, eh.
So what about mindset wise? Like skill wise, it sounds like you learned quite a bit from beginning to end, and hopefully you're continuing to grow. What about mindset during that time?
Oh, well, that's changed a lot. Um, so I finally had it with that first client, right?
Right.
um, I was, and I really had that moment where I'm like, I think they wanted me to do, I can't remember. They had like this whole week full of all these recipes and they wanted me to do like tamales and a couple of other things. And I was like, in my head, I was like, for that price, no, not doing it. I have made these so many times for myself and I know how much time it takes to
Time.
make these.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so I emailed them and I said, oh, effective on this date, I'm going to be raising my rates. Um, this is what my rates are. And, the groceries will be charged separately. I can no longer not not have you pay for, or however I worded it right, professionally.
Right.
So they weren't paying for groceries either. Um, yeah. And so they were like, Kristina, you're one of our best, but we can't pay you that. I was like, okay, I'm sorry, I can no longer work for you. And they're like, oh my God, if you ever change your mind, we'll love to work with you again. And I'm like,
You're
yeah,
like,
okay.
"No, if you change your mind." Like
Yeah. But when you let that go, I had new opportunities come within a couple of weeks and who were willing to pay the rates that I originally gave.
wonderful.
So,
There are people out there.
mhm.
Yeah.
And they were willing to buy the groceries, like
Right.
they saw what you're doing for them, right? They value you. And that was a big shift because when I started with them at the beginning of 2024, I was like, oh God, these are my first clients. I have
Is
to do
this what it's
everything.
gonna be like?
Yeah, this
What have
is,
I done?
and later that year was like, nope, it doesn't have to be like that. And know your worth, know when to let go of clients or
Yeah.
things or whatever that are not serving you or your growth, and you're going to be blessed with so much more later.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can feel scary though, letting go of that client, because you're like, is there more? Is there going to be more out there? Like, is this the only one? You're like, you kind of start to have that limited
It
mindset of
was.
like, this is it. This is the only opportunity. And so it can be scary to, you know, break up with those clients if you have to,
It
but
really
like
was.
you said, it opened up the door for so many more opportunities for you that were better, right?
Hmm. And I talked to another food blogger who is a very experienced food photographer and food stylist.
Mhm.
And I think food styling was actually her day job before she became a food blogger.
Oh,
So
okay.
she's, been in the industry. And she was like, Christina, I think you should just finish Pretty Focused, and you're going to be set with clients who expect to pay a certain amount, like they expect good work, they expect to pay the price for that, and they're
Mhm.
going to like respect you and what you do. And so I was like, you're right.
Are you creating recipe content but leaving video on the table? Whether you are a food photographer and you want to increase the amount you make per shoot, or you're a food blogger and you want to increase your traffic and boost engagement, food video will change everything. Inside our food video masterclass, you are going to learn how to plan, shoot, edit, and deliver mouth-watering videos that will increase your income and your engagement. Work smarter, grow faster. Click the link in the description to learn more. So then you graduated in October 2025. So then
Mm-hmm.
what has your experience been like now that you have finished Pretty Focused and you're in the Buyers Club? What's
Mm-hmm.
that experience? Do you notice a difference between the Buyers Club and other groups? Like, tell me what your experience has been.
um so I'm still getting used to the Buyers Club.
Okay.
um I'm still trying to figure out, like, how often should I promote myself, or how should I promote myself? Should I use one picture, three pictures? Like, what do I do?
Yep.
um but I did find one of my first Pretty Focused clients through the Buyers Club. She
Awesome.
posted, I reached out, she liked what she saw, we met on a Zoom call, and I've been working with her for the last 2 months. We started working together beginning of December.
That's
And
awesome.
so she's amazing. Um, and she's actually kind of one of my dream clients. And I say this because back when I was
Heck
pitching,
yes.
I saw her blog and I was familiar with her blog, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh no, she's like, I don't know, well, what she wanna, should I pitch her? And I never pitched her. I never pitched her, but I was familiar with her blog. And so when I saw, I was like, oh my God, that was the blogger that I saw and I never pitched. And then there she is. Okay, well, I'll send her a message and see if she gets back to me. And she did, and it's been great.
That's awesome. I love
Yeah,
that. She's like your dream. You're just like your dream client. You're
yeah.
just patient. I lo- that's fantastic. And so that was in December.
Hmm.
And so you've been working with her for 2 months since then.
Hmm.
And so when you talk about pitching to food bloggers, tell me about that. How do you do that? How do you go about doing that? Do you feel like you're being overwhelming? What's your response rate? How do you do that?
So I pretty much have a list. I have a Google spreadsheet. I go to the person's blog. I look at what kind of cuisine they have. Is this a cuisine that I can handle, um, or have knowledge in, or whatever? Um, and I pitch them a three or four, no, I think I do just three part series. of, "Hi, I'm Kristina. I have my own blog and I also provide food photography services. If if you want to grow a little bit more in this quarter, or you have any recreations that you need done, or more um, content needs for like Pinterest or social media, I would love to help you." And that's kind of like a
Okay.
gist of introducing myself. And
Okay.
then the second pitch will say like, "Oh, hi, just checking in if you got my first message. Here are some other ways I could help you." And then I just list a couple of different other
Do you put
things
like
like,
your link to your portfolio in there or
"Mhm,
some photos and all of that stuff? So that you're probably actually sound like a real human because I get people in my inbox and I'm like, no, I can't even pronounce your name.
yeah,
No. My
yeah,
favorite are the guys on YouTube who send me screenshots of my YouTube and tell me all the things I've done wrong
oh,
or like how I can optimize. And I'm like, way to
yeah,
sell me. Way to sell me. So don't ever do that. Don't ever go to somebody's blog and be like, see all these photos? This is bad. I can make you don't do that.
yeah,
Nobody wants that. Well, that's
yeah.
really cool. I'm really glad. And how often do you get responses from that?
Um, I would say for every 50 pitches sent, I've gotten at least like 2 to 3 responses of interest.
Okay.
And then that's where a majority of my other clients have came from.
Okay. Just like word of mouth too?
Um,
Like those responses, like
they've
um
been responding to my pitch.
they respond back. Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
I that's really cool. I don't
Yes.
talk to many people who have done that. And so I think it's really fascinating to see like, really how you're diversifying where you're getting clients, right? I mean, you're connected, you're working with other bloggers, you're in a couple of groups, you are pitching and so you've really expanded how you're getting clients and I love that. I think it's really cool. All right. So what services do you provide? Do you just do photos? Are you doing video development? Tell us what everything that you're doing.
So right now, the majority of the work I do is just the photography. I do have a couple of clients where I do iPhone video work for them.
Okay.
Um, and then I am currently working on my video portfolio. So for Pretty Focused.
Oh,
Using,
nice. You're in the food video masterclass?
yes, I had purchased that.
Love that.
I think during Black Friday. Yeah, during the
Okay.
Black Friday deal. I had purchased it and e- going back to taking the time to like go through everything and learn my video settings a little bit better and all that. It's just taking a little bit longer than I anticipated. But
Okay.
that's what's in the works for Pretty Focused in video. I
Okay.
hope to be offering it very soon, hopefully by spring.
Okay, good. Well, how are you using it for your blog too? Like, are you starting to do your own video content then on your blog, or are you just gonna do it for
um,
other clients?
just other clients right now, but I do iPhone video for my blog.
Okay. So you'll do like when you say iPhone video, do you mean Reels? Like the Reels style?
I do both. So the clients that I do iPhone work for, I'm doing an actual horizontal video for them, so the step by step.
Okay.
And then I have like a premium package where that includes more special edits, the music, and then putting the text overlay and just having in like a call to action at the end or whatever.
Okay.
Um, so that's like a premium, and then the basic, they could either have it vertical or whatever.
Or
But
horizontal,
some,
like whatever. Okay.
yeah. Um, but some, I do have a couple of clients that just like, oh, I just want 10 seconds of the finished dish,
Yeah.
but show it being served or something.
Yeah, I love that you specified 10 seconds because I believe in order to be monetized on Instagram and Facebook, it has to be at least 10 seconds. So if you're going to start doing clips for clients that are heroes only, make sure make sure they're 10 seconds or longer.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. So that's
That
great. I mean, we're talking like 2 cents, you know?
yeah, yeah.
It's not a ton, but you know, it's that, I think it's that extra little step that you can take to make them know, to let them know that I'm watching out for you. Like I'm making sure that this is going to be valuable, you know, no matter what I do. So, all right. So whenever it comes to using your phone, like obviously there's a difference in quality over the phone versus like a camera. So why do your clients want the phone, or why do you choose the phone? You know?
It moves a little bit faster, right, with the phone because you just have I have one tripod set up. I have the phone. I can zoom in. I can zoom out. I can kind of pan if I want. Um, it works. Um, but I also use quality lighting. So I'm using professional, continuous lighting coming in. So the video quality or the colors at least, like it all looks the same all the time. And I
Okay.
can brighten it up a little bit too. Um,
Yeah.
and I do because sometimes the food just needs the brightening or whatever. But um, I come at a little bit of a lower price with the iPhone.
Okay.
So it might be a price point thing of why bloggers are like, hey, let's do the iPhone.
Sure, right, or
You
maybe
know,
like on social media, relatable stuff, right? It's like they wanna see, typically that's what I see and what I hear is like they just want it to be a little bit more relatable on
mhm.
social media. Like on the blog, they want the high quality photos, but when you're on social, they want just that, it's a little, I don't know, it's a little bit more relatable to people, right?
Yeah.
It's
And
wild.
some people, and I'm going to be really honest about this. So I pitched a lot of bloggers before, and I've had a couple of people say no to my video because they're like, oh, no, no, that's not high quality enough. And one blogger gave me, very respectable feedback. She's like, do this, but do it on, create an actual portfolio
Mm,
off your mirror list. And I think bloggers are going to go for it, right
yeah,
away,
with
whatever. So,
create a portfolio with your camera, actual camera.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see making, you know, being able to charge that higher price point with your camera, right?
Yeah.
And these are hands and pans. That's what we call like the tasty style hands and pans, because
Hmm.
you have new evolving styles whenever it comes to video. You now have like that what is it called? ASMR. So,
Yeah.
you know, where it's more like at a lower angle, it's not as high overhead. What do you offer those different types of videos like hands and pans, ASMR, or is it like this is what I do?
Um, so it's mainly hands and pans.
Okay.
There is one client where I've kind of done the ASMR because it worked for that recipe. So I
Mhm.
left the sound on for her. So if she liked it, she could use it ASMR, but if not, she can just put her voice over as she normally does or whatever. Um, but it's mainly the hands and pans.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, you know, there's been one thing that I've gotten feedback on was like, well, can you zoom out a little more? Because it just feels congested. And I'm
Okay.
like, I'm going to try my best. I just don't want the tables to show, and
Sure.
I need to see what's happening
Yep.
as I record. So I can't go any higher than my height, right? Like
Right.
I need to see. So that's been one of the kind of setbacks to using your phone
Yep.
because
You
with a camera you can adjust and you can still see, or you can put the camera,
true.
uh, right. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Even I think there's different recording monitors, you know what I mean, that you can attach to your camera so you can see what's happening on that little monitor. Well, you can't, I don't I don't want to say you can't do that with your phone because people surprise me and there's technology that I don't know about, but I don't know. But with the camera, I know that you can. I'm
That's
sure
one of
Apple
the things
has
I
some.
learned in the course.
I'm sure Apple has something
Yeah,
that you
in the video pretty focused course, that's one of the things that she shows is that monitor thing. I was like,
that
oh,
monitor.
you get that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh,
Mhm.
yes. Absolutely. All right. So it sounds like you have, I mean, you're thinking outside of photography, you're adding in other services. What goals do you have for your business when you think back to 2023 when you lost, you were laid off, you lost that job, from then to now? How is life different? And then what are you excited about moving forward?
Life is really different because now, well, first of all, my husband doesn't have his business anymore and he works a 9 to 5. And so
Okay.
he's the steady income earner now. So
Okay. Okay. Kind of flip
that
flopped.
that's yeah, a major flip flop, but it helps with the stress, right? Because
Hmm.
now I'm like, huh, I can breathe a little bit more because now I know the mortgage is going to get paid.
Sure.
Uh,
Right.
but I mean, first of all, my clients are amazing. My pretty focused client and my clients that I've pitched, they are all
Mhm.
very amazing. Um, I've loved working with them. The other clients I have been working with over a year now. So we've had a long-term thing happening and that's
Yeah.
great. Um, the flexibility has been great. My youngest is in first grade, so I'm able to take him to school, pick him up. All the times that he gets injured or sick, I'm able to go get him right away.
My gosh.
Um,
Wow.
Times when I'm feeling sick or, something's happening in the house or whatever, um, I can adjust my schedule to such, right?
Which,
Um,
were you able to do that before? Like as a medical coder, did you work outside the home? Did you work inside the home? Did you have any of that flexibility?
when I first started medical coding, I was working in the office and I would have to commute, and that commute really took away from family time or any evening time.
Oh, sure.
Um, and then we started working from home in about 2019. I was working from home and we'd only have to go into the office like once a month or something.
Okay.
Um, so I had been working from home, but it was still hard to get away because they kind of like watch you. Like you can
Sure.
only be
Oh,
gone
yeah.
for 30 minutes or whatever.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it was flexible, but not
But
as flexible.
you can't really compare it to now, I guess, right?
No.
Yeah. Was not it was that was not that's not flexible. That's not
Yeah.
flexible.
You have
Yeah.
to check in all the time.
Yeah. So what do you
Um,
have planned for the future?
well, so meanwhile, my blog's growing. My blog has been growing. That has been amazing. I want to continue to grow the blog.
Mhm.
Um, I became certified to teach yoga. And so I really,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Um, I would like later down the line, I would love to maybe do like a yoga blog. Maybe like I think about it, but I'm not gonna put it on 2026. I just, I just,
We get yeah. Understood. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
but I mean, I love doing video. So I'm excited to get my video portfolio, um, to get that going and get that, start advertising that and stuff.
Good, because
So,
we actually don't have a ton of people doing video.
and there's
So
a
that's good.
demand. There is a
And
demand.
mhm. Yep.
So,
Video is not going anywhere. I know not every blogger has gotten on the video bandwagon. I think there are some that are resistant to it, but video is here to stay, right? It is not going anywhere. I mean, just look at how where, Instagram and Pinterest, very photo based. When TikTok came along, videos started entering into the scene. Of course, we've always had YouTube, right?
Mhm.
But now with TikTok, now Instagram has morphed and changed into having reels, and now YouTube has shorts. You know, Facebook now, has the reels too, and it's like if you're a blogger listening to this and you haven't started video yet, you've got to start video. And you can start simply. You can start on your phone. It doesn't have to be over dramatized. It needs to be like start with like a 10-second hero clip, right? As a food blogger or as a food photographer, do that too. You can start there and then continue to grow. Of course, if it's a 10-second hero clip, you're not going to be charging hundreds of dollars. Please do not do that. But that's where you can start. That's where you can do value add for your clients too, to marry the photo with the video, I think. So I love that you're diving into it.
Yeah, I find video to be really fun. I know it can be a pain sometimes, but I
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoy it. So I was like, I'm gonna lean into that a little bit and
Good.
see where that goes.
Yeah, I mean, video is not as forgiving as photos. You cannot edit
Yeah.
out the spot,
Yeah.
it's for sure gotta be right in video. And so, but I think Tia does a really great job at teaching all of that inside the food video
Hmm.
masterclass. So I'm glad that you're taking that. So, okay, girl, we have talked about so much today. So much, from clients to pitching to your experience to adding video and your goals and your dreams and beyond. A yoga blog. I think that's really cool. Would you add in food, or just what would that even look like?
Yes. So I would probably, so right now my blog is like healthy-ish food, but I think for the yoga blog, I would niche down more to like strictly clean eating. Um, so I would integrate the movement and food together.
Okay. I think that's awesome. That's great. That's awesome. So, what kind of encouragement? I want to leave on an encouraging note, because we have people who are interested in Pretty Focus. We've got students, we've got fellow grads listening. I mean, we really have a wide audience listening. But what kind of encouragement would you leave for them as we wrap up this episode?
I would definitely say do not stop. And do not stop. It's like, you know, I've m- I've already taken over 23,000 pictures in my Lightroom, and I still feel like I'm learning, right?
Yep.
So grab the camera, take your time. th- Like, don't listen to the negative feedback around you. And by negative feedback, I mean, why are you doing that? Are you going to make any money? Like that type of, like, your maybe it could be your
Well,
friends or your coworkers are talking
sometimes
to you.
the biggest battle is inside your own head.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not even coming from the outside. It's inside. At least maybe that's my struggle. That's my biggest battle. So I'm really glad that you said that. Like, the naysayers, both inside and outside. So
I
let's
struggled with performance anxiety.
yeah.
So when it came down to portfolio, it was like, is this going to be good enough? Are they going to reject it? And
Mm,
it's literally, there was nothing wrong with the shot. It could have just been one crumb that was out of place, in my opinion, right? But I'm like,
right.
no, no, no. Go turn it in. Go turn in the
Yes.
assignment. Do not stop just because you think the crumb should have been on the right instead of the left, or like, turn it in.
I do. I start overthinking those details too. Seriously. I know that feeling. So I love that you said that. Just turn it in.
Yeah, and I think now that I've graduated, now I'm in the buyers club, but guess what? I am still learning, and that is okay. Like,
Mhm.
maybe my photos might not be the best of the best of the best, but they're still great. The client loves them, and I'm just being the hard critic, right?
Yeah.
Because the client was happy. The client gave great feedback, or the client said, "Yay, this looks perfect," or like.
Well, but what I love about you, Kristina, is that you are not just doing that cell phone video and that being it. That's not you have not allowed that to be your ceiling. Yes, the client is loving it where you're at, but you have continued to strive and grow because you know you want to be better, and like you could just be like, well, my clients like it. And I hear it from people like who are going through the course, and they are working with clients, and then we give feedback that says one thing. They're like, well, my clients like it, so why would I listen to the feedback if my clients like it? And that poses a great challenge, because you could just say, I don't need to get any better, they love it, why would I get better? But you're continuing to grow, and you're
Mhm.
continuing to get better, and to continue to push yourself, and I think that's huge. So
Yes,
thank you
because
for doing that.
when you get too comfortable,
Yeah.
then that's when you stop growing. And if you are your own business, you got to keep growing. Period,
Yeah.
right? Like
Right.
you can't stop at, well, this is fine. No, it's not fine.
No. Let's
Keep
reject
pushing.
good for great and never stop
Yeah.
growing and have fun
Yeah.
while doing it. We
Yes.
can do all those things. Yeah,
Yes.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining us today. This was a fantastic
Thank
episode. I hope
you.
you guys learned a lot from it. I know I
Thank you
did.
so much for having me.
Yeah. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you back here next week for another episode of the Pretty Focus Podcast.